$1,200 per plane ticket. If you can't afford it, stay. That's all my mother said. I nodded, not arguing. But just a few minutes later, my phone vibrated. 4 business class tickets just paid for. With my credit card. Not for me. No permission. No message. I opened the app, declined everything, locked my account. When I checked in, my sister texted, "Why haven't you paid anything yet?" I texted back, "What did you say?" I stayed, then booked my own trip. My dad came over the next day. I didn't. The plane tickets were $1,200 each. My mom said, "If you can't afford it, stay." I didn't argue. I just nodded, even smiled as if I wasn't offended. As if this wasn't the 6th time in 2 years that my own family had made it clear that I didn't belong here if I didn't pay for the privilege. My mom said it casually over the phone while I was still in scrubs, sweating from a 12-hour shift at the hospital. I just finished a back-to-back overnight shifts to pay rent and pay off student loans. They were all going to Maui. My mom, my dad, my sister, Kayla, and her husband, Derek, a week-long business class family vacation. Of course, we deserved it. She added, "This year's been hard on everyone. Everyone. Like I wasn't a part of that everyone. Like I didn't lend Kayla $2,500 last April when Derek lost his sales job, or cover Dad's medical deductible when his blood pressure spiked and he refused to go to the EA because of the high cost. I told her it was okay, but I'd stay." Then I went back to cleaning up the vomit of a drunk patient who tried to punch me because he suggested lying down. But that night, I got a ping on my phone. A notification from my credit card app for business class tickets purchased for $1,200 each. My card, not my name. I opened the app. Passenger name: Caleb B. Derek B. Sandra Mom. William M. Dad. No. Alex M. Not me. I stared at the screen for a whole minute. My fingers were cold, my heart was pounding. They had used my credit card again without asking, without telling me, just assumed I would pay like I always did. I didn't even get a window seat. I hit dispute everything. Then I locked the account. An hour later, I was brushing my teeth when my phone rang again. A text from Kayla. Why hadn't anything been paid? We were checking in. I wiped the phone off my mouth. Looked at the text. Took a deep breath. Then I texted back. "What did you say?" "I'm staying." And I did. I stayed, but not in the way they expected. I booked a private vacation to a warmer, quieter place. No family, no obligations, no guilt. The next morning, my phone rang again. A call from my dad. I didn't answer. That afternoon, he showed up at my apartment. Knocked on the door like he owned it. I didn't answer the door. It didn't start. With the ticket. That was just the tip of a mountain of broken boundaries and overdraft fees. It started when I was 22, and Kayla borrowed my credit card to buy a dress for her engagement party. A temporary $600 emergency because you work in healthcare and don't even dress up, so you wouldn't notice. She promised to pay me back by the end of the month. She never did. Then my dad asked me to co-sign a loan so they could renovate the kitchen. "It's not even for us," he said. "It's for resale. One day you'll inherit it." Spoiler alert, the house had been refinanced twice, and they used the money to pay for Derek's second failed business. I was working 50-plus hours a week, barely making ends meet. And somehow I was still the family ATM, the dependable one, the nurse with a steady job. The single one with no kids, the one who should pitch in because the family supported each other. But there was never mutual support. When I got pneumonia last winter from working through flu season and asked Mom to bring me soup, she said, "I can't, honey." I promised Kayla I'd watch the kids while she got her nails done. I always do. When Derek crashed my car, the one I lent him while his was being fixed, my insurance doubled. He didn't even apologize. He just shrugged and said, "That's what insurance is for, right?" They drained me slowly, drop by drop, until I couldn't even feel anything anymore, like boiling a frog. I was a frog until the week before the Hawaii trip. That was the real trigger. I'd just finished my night shift when Kayla texted, "Can you move up your payday? Mom wants to book a hotel room and we're short on money." What payday? I hadn't even been invited. I sent it back. What's short on money? Mom responded with a gift of hula dancers and words like family trip to a deserted island, hibiscus lady, soft-spoken. I called Mom. Kayla said Mom needed help booking a hotel room. I asked, trying to sound calm. "Oh, honey, don't worry about it." Mom chirped. "It's all booked. We just need a little money to upgrade to business class." You know how bad Derek's knee is? Wait, Mom is asking me to pay for an upgrade on a trip I'm not even taking. Silence. Then the tone changes. "Look, Alex, if you want to come along, you can say something. But each flight is $1,200. If you can't afford it, you're better off sitting out. Don't be mad at me." She talks to me like I'm a burden, like my existence is an inconvenience to their lavish schedule. I don't argue, I just hang up. Silence, calm, numb. Then the call comes. My card has been used for 4 business class tickets. That's when the numbness wears off. So many sacrifices. So many vacations I've canceled, skipped dinner, worked. Overtime for what? So they can live comfortably while I restrict my medication and eat instant noodles 3 nights a week. That night, I sit at my desk staring at a financial spreadsheet. I had $327 in the bank, $14,200 in student loans. My car was 6 years old and had 119,000 miles on it. I hadn't been on a vacation since college. Meanwhile, Derek was sipping champagne with my name on the bill. And Kayla had the nerve to text me from the check-in counter, "Why haven't you paid yet?" The mask was off. It was them. It had always been them. I wasn't family. I was. The sponsor, I simply responded, "What did you say?" I stayed. Then I did something I never thought I would do. I opened a travel website and booked it, my own trip. Nothing fancy, but mine. Completely mine, no strings attached, no guilt. The next day, my dad showed up at my door like a scene from a Netflix thriller. Still in his Hawaiian shirt, standing outside my apartment looking confused, angry, and self-righteous. He knocked. I didn't budge. He knocked again, louder this time. "Alex, open the door. We need to talk." I didn't. He was there for 7 minutes. I timed it, then he left. That night, I got a voicemail from my mom. "You hurt me so much today. I flew home early to talk to you. After everything we've done for you for Mom, I saved the messages, not as a keepsake, but as proof. I was done with lying to myself." The next day, Kayla called 5 times and sent me this beautiful letter. "Grow up. You can't punish your whole family over a misunderstanding." A misunderstanding. They took advantage of me, robbed me, made fun of me. And now I've said no. I'm the bad guy, but I'm not mad anymore. I'm done. They thought silence meant surrender. That if they knocked hard enough, long enough, I would cave in like I always did. But I had changed. Dad came back the next day, this time with Mom. Same place, same apartment hallway, same tired look. I didn't answer the door. That night, Kayla's texts started pouring in. "You're being unfair. We need an upgrade." Derek's knee was all swollen up, flying economy. "Do you realize what you did?" We couldn't even check in. Had to downgrade and pay for it ourselves. Do you know how embarrassing that was? Families are supposed to be together. Family. There was that word again. I typed, deleted, retyped. Then I sent a text. "You mean like when I paid you for 8 months of rent and you forgot to pay me back?" No response. Then a series of calls. From Mom, all ignored. Then a text from Dad. "You need to grow up and stop playing the victim. We had no choice. We didn't know the card would be declined. You should have helped. You always did." I stared at the bottom line for a long time. You should have helped. Like I was some family employee whose absence was considered workplace misconduct. I didn't respond, but I wasn't done because they thought this was just a phase, a tantrum, that I would get over it like always. But this time was different. This time I was angry. Not just emotionally hurt, but logistically, financially, physically exhausted from years of propping up a system to which I was a silent contributor, so I did what they never expected. I sat down and wrote out the bill. The $600 dress for Kayla's engagement party never paid back. The $2,500 loan to Kayla and Derek while he was unemployed. $800. Dad's MRI deductible paid by himself. $420 in groceries. Mom forgot to return Venmo $1,200 for business class airfare to Hawaii charged without consent. $150 interest and late. Credit card payment due to the above. Total outstanding balance is $7,870. I then emailed the family chat group. Subject: request for reimbursement of unauthorized charges and past support. In accordance with your belief that families should stay together. Please see attached breakdown of financial support I have provided over the past 24 months. As of July 1st, I will no longer be providing family support. Full repayment is expected within 30 business days. I will then file a formal report with the credit provider for unauthorized use of my financial information. No more financial interactions allowed from now on. The group chat exploded. Kayla, are you serious? What kind of person builds their own? Family? Mom, this is hurtful and unnecessary, Alex. You're making things worse. Dad, we raised you better than this. That was the final straw. Because the truth is, they didn't feed me. I fed myself between overtime, unpaid bills, and being the default safety net for everyone else's irresponsibility. I answered truthfully, you didn't feed me. I was overwhelmed by the imbalance in our relationship and I let you, but not anymore. Then I blocked Kayla. I left my parents. I unlocked it out of curiosity to see how far that delusion could go. It went deep. The next night, they showed up in person. I saw them through the peephole. Dad looked stiff. Mom held up some papers, probably receipts and excuses. I opened the door. I need to talk to you, Mom said, her voice shaking. No, I really don't, I said calmly. Dad stepped forward. This shit, freezing the credit cards, the bills, it's mean, Alex, we're your family. And you used my name and my card to buy a plane ticket. I snapped. That's not family. That's a serious breach of trust. We don't think that's the problem. Mom cried. You always help because you're my coach. I've been meddling in your affairs since I was 22. You treat me like a walking debit card. I help because I was taught that saying no to men is a bad thing, but I'm tired of being a good girl. Don't talk to your mother like that. Dad growled. No, don't talk to me like I owe you anything, I snapped back. I worked double shifts while Kayla and Derek spent my money on mimosas at Lax. I paid your hospital bills while you talked bad about me behind my back. He stepped forward. You think this makes you strong? Turning your back on your family? No, I said, but it sets me free. I slammed the door in their faces. Not a slam, just firm, deliberate, decisive. They didn't knock again. That night, I got a voicemail. From my mother, a quiet, weary voice. I don't know who you are anymore. And for the first time in my life, I smiled at those words because I was no longer the person they treated me so badly. After I closed the door, the silence that followed wasn't peaceful in front of my dad. It was surgical, precise, decisive. No more banging, no more guilt-filled voicemails. Just the empty space where their control had been. For 2 days, nothing happened, not a word from any of them. I almost expected the cold shoulder to last forever. Then panic set in. It started with an email from the bank. Someone tried to use my old, frozen credit card to rent a car in Maui again. Derek, of course. I called the fraud department. They confirmed that the attempted charge matched his ID. Do you want to press charges? They asked. I didn't, but I asked them to document everything and email the report to myself. The header was proof in case things escalated. That evening, I got a text from an unknown number. We're stuck. Are you really going to leave your family like this after all we've done for you, Kayla? I stared at it for a long time. What have they actually done for me besides steal? I didn't reply, just took a screenshot and saved it to a new folder I'd created. Family stereotypes I won't repeat. A few days passed. Then something really strange happened. I got a Facebook message from Marissa. Yes, that Marissa, Derek's ex-wife. We hadn't spoken in years. Last I heard, she'd moved across the country after her divorce and started over. She was always too smart for him. A sharp, ambitious lawyer with an allergy to nonsense. Her message was simple. Hey Alex, sorry to interrupt, but maybe you should talk. I replied about Derek. She sent a thumbs up and then a PDF. I hesitated. For a second, then opened it. Inside, screenshots, wire transfers, a paper trail. Apparently, Derek had transferred money from a joint family account his parents had given him in case of emergency. He was gambling again. Cryptocurrency this time. High risk, low IQ, it got worse. There were emails in the screenshot. One from my mom begging Marissa not to report anything. Another from my dad saying, we'll work this out. Alex didn't need to know. They knew. They all knew. They kept it from me because they were afraid I'd cut them off before I did. The plane tickets were just the tip of the iceberg. They were joining me to cover up Derek's financial mess. I called Marissa right away. She picked up on the second ring. I'm not sure you want to talk, she said. But I couldn't stand by and watch. I know how they treated you. I asked why she was sending this now. She was silent. Because you finally did what I should have done years ago, walked away, and I thought you deserved to know the truth. That night, I printed out every page, every transfer, every shady text message. I stapled them together and brought them to my desk. And for the first time in years, I slept with the windows open, the breeze blowing in, without a trace of anxiety in my chest. The next morning, I got a call from an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. It was, Dad, your voice was low, not angry, but stressed. Alex, I didn't know what to say. Your mom's stressed. Kayla isn't eating. Derek, he's not feeling well. We made a mistake. Sure, but you made your point. I'm asking man to man. Can we talk? I typed a sentence and texted back. You're not getting the favor you never deserved. That week, I sent another bill, this time with Marissa's files were attached as an appendix, as additional evidence. I copied Aunt Linda and, just for fun, forwarded an edited version anonymously to the Human Resources Department of the company where my dad worked. A few days later, I got a warning. My dad was no longer listed on the company website. I didn't celebrate. I wasn't angry. I just didn't care. Meanwhile, my life, it blossomed. I signed up for therapy, real face-to-face sessions. I went hiking, bought a bike, cooked a new meal every weekend. I started seeing a woman I'd met in the hospital cafeteria, Leah, soft-spoken, curious not. Knowing who her family was, and I told her about them, about me, about the version of myself I'd finally built without them. One afternoon, Leah and I sat on the sofa, looking at a hiking trail near our house. She pointed to a trail and smiled. Do you want to come next weekend? And for the first time in years, I didn't have to check my bank account. I just said, okay. A few weeks later, I got one last letter. Handwritten, no return address. I recognized the handwriting. Kyla, 5 pages of manipulated, fake apologies. Everyone makes mistakes. He went too far. Mom cried every day. He turned his back on blood. Finally, she wrote, we are a family. Nothing can change that. And I realized she was right. We were family. Which made it worse because it wasn't. Strangers who stole from me. It was the people who knew me best who did. I folded the letter, placed it on top of Marissa's file, and locked them both in a drawer. The night before my birthday, I got a card in the mail, simple. Unsigned, just 3 words. I see you. It was from Marissa. And in that moment, I smiled because someone had finally done it. It had been 6 months since I slammed the door on my past. 6 months since I stopped apologizing for saying no. 6 months since I finally looked in the mirror and saw not a walking wallet, but a whole untethered man. I thought closure meant they came to me, head bowed, tears in their eyes, apologizing and making amends. But closure isn't their business, it's mine. 3 weeks ago, I ran into my mother. It was an accident. I was sipping my morning espresso at a quiet downtown cafe, still half asleep. Headphones on, hood up, then her voice, Alex. I looked up and there she was. Smaller than I remembered, not just in size, but in presence, like time had shrunk her. She smiled as if nothing had ever happened, as if we'd never fought the silence. And the bills, can we sit? We sat. She started talking first, rambling. No real apology, just a reminiscence. We were just trying to hold it together. We didn't realize how much you were carrying. If we could go back, maybe we'd do some things differently. No possessions, no mention of cheating, not a single no word about Derek trying to use my credit again. Not responsible for Kayla's spite, just an emotional rehearsal where I was supposed to play the selfless son, but I was done with that role. Then the inevitable happened. Do you hate us now? I didn't flinch. No, I said, but I don't owe you anything anymore. She blinked. But we're family. It wasn't an argument, I said. It was an excuse. She reached into her purse and handed me an envelope. Standing up, she said she hoped I'd come back to them someday. I told her calmly. I did it to tell you I wouldn't. As she left, I opened the envelope. A check. $7,870. No note, no apology. Just silence with a $sign. I didn't cash it. No, right away. I pinned it to the wall above my desk next to a quote that changed my life. You don't have to burn yourself to warm someone else. Kayla, she never contacted me again, but Marissa did. It turns out that after sharing Derek's financial lies with me, she sent the same bundle of evidence to a family law attorney at the state's fraud office. Derek is now under investigation for wire fraud and embezzlement of family funds because guess what? He didn't just use my card. He stole money from my parents' retirement fund. The same people who told me he was just going through a rough patch. How poetic. When I asked Marissa why she helped, she said, because he deserves support. And I can't sleep knowing they're going to keep hurting him. She's not Derek's ex anymore. She's a bombshell, true with receipts. Dad, you quietly lost your job. Rumor has it that HR started an investigation after some anonymous package came in. He tried calling me again. Voicemail. You made your point, Alex. You embarrassed us all. But a family is not a transaction. You will regret this. I didn't answer because it was true. A family is a transaction even if it's always one-sided. Leah and I were very close. She was there when I told her everything, the good, the bad, the bank records. She didn't flinch, she just held my hand and said, I'm proud of you for not letting that make you bitter. She's the first person in my life who never made me sacrifice for her love. We plan to move together this fall, a new, spacious, brighter house, and no, I never asked for money. As for the check, I withdrew cash and donated each penny to the scholarship fund for young nurses, to support my family financially while still in school. Because there was a person out there like you 5 years ago, once made them back pain while their family pretended that it was normal. Let them know that is not. Let them know that they are not alone. So where will it take me? Stronger, quieter, wiser, still a son, still an older brother, but no longer their life buoy. I no longer have their burden. I bring my own boundaries. I brought my peace and I brought my memory about the last day I said that I was not your safety net. You are myself. They don't understand you for that, but I love myself for that. So this is what I left. Sin, fear, legend that being a good means. Shedding blood for others, and this is what I keep, my life. It is not perfect, but it is mine. And this time I will not share it with anyone who doesn't treat me as if I were important. I used to be the one they relied on. Now I stand by myself. And the door I closed that day, it was still closed. Just now, the key is in my pocket and it is still there.